G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we're going through my round 23 AFL tips and predictions. Before we get straight into this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's get straight into the round 22 review from last weekend of footy. Alrighty, so as by reviewing last weekend of footy, I got a total score of 4 out of 9 tips correct, still somehow in the top 39%, which kind of doesn't really make sense, to be honest, but 4 out of 9 tips, not the best round. Obviously, I've had better, which is pretty obvious to know because obviously everyone's had at least a 7 or 8 out of 9 or even a 9 out of 9. Some people have had 9 out of 9s. I should have had 9 out of 9s multiple times this season, but unfortunately I've been getting unlucky with 1 tip or 2 tips correct sometimes in some rounds. But this round was completely on the other end of the spectrum. I got 4 out of 9 tips correct, but anyway, let's go through the review. So starting off with the Bulldogs taking on North Melbourne. What a game this was. North Melbourne won the game by 23 points to snap their Thursday night footy streak and also snap their losing streak against the Bulldogs. And they did it in fine style. They won by 23 points. I was 58 points off the margin since I did back in the Dogs by a decent margin of 35 points. Obviously, they double it, so that means it's 58, not obviously 12, because I got the tip wrong. If I got the tip right, it would have been 12, but unfortunately I got it wrong, so they doubled it, so it is 35 plus 23, not 35 minus 23. Moving on to the Friday night, Brisbane v Hawthorn. Brisbane, they came back with a win. Obviously, they came off the week prior to this against Carlton, losing that game at Marvel Stadium under the roof by 76 points or over, something like that. And Brisbane, I don't know how they managed to do this, but they finally got their mojo back and they're back into the top 4 after a win against Hawthorn. I backed in the Hawks since Brisbane's game the week prior in round 21 was very shocking, so I thought they were going to have some bad vibes going into this game, but obviously they had positive and good vibes going into this game, so that's how they won by 67 points over the Hawks in a smashing. Then this game, Melbourne v Freo on the Saturday. This has to be game of the year by far, surely. Harrison Petty giving the rub of the head straight back to Paddy Voss with their win by 4 points. Upset win over the Dockers. Now Freo have got their 3rd loss of the year finally, and Melbourne, geez, they're climbing up there. They've won 4 of the last 5, obviously same with Brisbane, Hawthorn and the Dockers, and even Adelaide as well, but goes to show that Sydney are the only team with 2 losses out of the last 5 games. So that goes to show how bad they can be, the Swans. Obviously, we'll go to the next game and they smash Port Adelaide, but it was realistically just Port Adelaide. So Port Adelaide are not the best team this year. They won by 97 points over them, almost 100 points. Port Adelaide were lucky in the end to not concede a 100 plus point margin, so they were lucky in the end to win by 97 only, but 167 is still an atrocious score for the defensive side of things in Port Adelaide. So yeah, Sydney, despite them having 2 losses out of the last 5 and me trying to be negative towards them, they smashed Port Adelaide in that game, which was good. Got that tip correct, obviously. Geelong v Essendon, another easy tip to get correct. And then Adelaide v Richmond. Oh my goodness, how on earth was that close? I don't know how Adelaide kept that close throughout the whole game. I was field umpiring at halftime, and I couldn't believe, as soon as I got back to my seats, the 3rd and 4th quarters were exciting to watch. The crowd was lifting, and obviously we did win, but only by a narrow margin. Callum Archie's the superstar. Taylor Walker obviously retiring at the end of this year, which is sad to say. Sad to hear and sad to say as a Crows fan myself, but unfortunately he will be going after this year at the conclusion of finals, when however far we get into the final series. So yeah, good win for us, and there's another win on the board, and hopefully we can climb back up to the top 4 with another win this week against Fremantle, but I highly doubt it. Then the Sunday, Giants v Gold Coast. Now, this was one of the games of the round. Not obviously not the game of the round, let alone game of the year, but it was a close game. Matt Rowell, you absolute superstar. What a finishing touch to win the Suns the game at Manuka over the Giants. Big win for them. Then the Pies over the Eagles, pretty easy win for them. Despite them only winning by 19 points, they still got the job done comfortably and are now locking in a top 10 spot. They're currently in 8th with 4 of the last 5 games being wins. And funny how Sydney is 2nd and they've got 2 of the last 5 being losses, whereas Collingwood have got 4 of the last 5 being wins. So Sydney have really got to step up their game. And then St Kilda v Carlton, wow, I did not expect this to happen. I thought an upset was happening on the cards, but it looks like St Kilda are officially out of finals, I think, by far now. They need 2 wins to catch up to Carlton. If Carlton get 1 more win, Carlton are fully in finals. So they've got the Dogs this week. We'll see what happens. And then they've got Freo the week after. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But what a win by the Blues over the Saints by 44 points, annihilating them to give the Saints a slim chance, a very slim pickings chance to make finals in season 2026. Let's go through to the tipping comp to see who's leading on the leaderboard right now. Alrighty, so as shown on the screen right now, I have dropped down to 5th. Unfortunately, with that poor result, Alvin Tiger Jones has jumped into 4th and taken over my spot by getting a 7 out of 9 and the biggest score of everyone tipping in the tipping comp. He got even a better score than Big Kev, 3-Pete Pending, and Shannon Humphries, who all got 6s last weekend, and 2 of them with 150 points total. I'm in 5th with 143. Obviously, there's only 7 people in the tipping comp now. JC Boy's winning. Hasn't really done many tips, but he might have not clicked them, but he might have given them based on automated tips after, obviously, you forget to tip each weekend. But Jason Boy's winning, obviously dead last with 100 points. He's basically given up. Ronnie Reagan, 69, still in the hunt, but very unlikely. And I'm still in the hunt, but I'm pretty far behind now after that woeful score of 4 out of 9 last week. So I got to step up my game. Big Kev looks like he's going to win the tipping comp, but we'll see what happens. 3-Pete Pending and Shannon Humphries are right on his tail. Only 4 points behind. Obviously, 3-Pete Pending and Shannon Humphries both tied with 150 and only 4 points behind Big Kev. But we'll see what happens. There's 2 rounds to go, and then there's finals, obviously. So a big couple of weekends coming up for the footy gods. And this ladder looks like it's going to shape up to be an incredible final series, because we already know 9 out of the 10 teams playing finals. So good to see that 9 of the 10 teams already playing finals automatically with 2 rounds to go. It's all up to Carlton now. Can they hold on? But yeah, Big Kev towering over everybody at the moment. Let's go through round 23 tips right now, starting from Fremantle Adelaide at Optus Stadium. Alrighty, so we start things off on the Friday night, 7:40 p.m. at Optus Stadium in Perth. It is Fremantle taking on my beloved Adelaide Crows. I will be at a birthday party during this time. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stream it. However, this still should be a good game to watch, and I'll be watching on my phone or TV or whatever at a friend's house for their 18th birthday party. What a game this is going to be. Fremantle taking on the Crows, 5th v 1st on the table. Adelaide trying to lock up a top 4 spot. Fremantle already have locked up top spot. But to make sure of it, they're just trying to play for fun right now. They're trying to gain some more wins on the board. They obviously lost to Melbourne last week in an upset 4-point loss somehow. And the Crows only narrowly escaped with a win over the Tigers at the Adelaide Oval. So the reason why we only won by a narrow margin, the only reason why I'm backing in Freo in this one is because of that reason. That's the only reason why I'm backing in Freo in this one. I'm going to back them in by 29 points. It should be a convincing win in Perth. It could go down to Wharfie time, but I highly doubt it. Jordan Dawson obviously was one of the stars of the show against the Tigers last week, and same with Isaac Rankin. He had 276 fantasy points. 138 fantasy points, but he was my captain in fantasy, obviously. So he got 276 for my fantasy team, which was a good call by my mate Xavier from Youth Group, who gives me all the ideas of who to put in my fantasy team each week and whatnot. So that was a good call by my mate from Youth Group to give me Isaac Rankin as the decision. But anyway, Fremantle should be my tip in this one. I'm going to back them in. I know I should be backing in my team every week, but I'm not one of those supporters. If I don't have faith in my team, I don't have to have faith in my team. Obviously, I should have faith in my team every week and have a mindset of, okay, we're going to win this. However, this week is probably not going to be the week for me. I know it sounds silly in itself that it doesn't make me feel like I'm a real Crows fan if that's the case. But I'm still a Crows fan, do not worry. I'm called the Crom Magician for a reason. Why else would I be a Crows fan if I'm not called the Crom Magician? Fremantle by 29 points is my prediction over Adelaide to begin the weekend. We start the Saturday live from the MCG. Richmond taking on St Kilda. This game is going to be quite interesting. Richmond, they obviously came off a narrow loss to the Crows last week, of course, and the Saints came off a 44-point demolition job in the second. Like, they were all over from the start to finish. Frankie Evans was the star of the show in this one. Obviously, they won by 44 points, the Blues, over St Kilda. So St Kilda need to get a win on the board to keep their finals hopes alive. Obviously, they need to win the next 2 games without Carlton winning any of their last 2, because they've got the Dogs and the Dockers this weekend and next. So it's going to be a tough game next weekend for Carlton, but obviously this week should be reasonably easy. Maybe not too easy, but the Dogs are going to try and minimise their opportunity of keeping Carlton in the hunt for, in the finals race for top 10. So obviously Carlton and St Kilda are basically the only 2 teams battling for it. GWS kind of are too, same with North. But everyone from Gold Coast down is very well and truly gone, and obviously everyone from Fremantle to the Western Bulldogs is already in. So we already know the top 9 teams are in and the bottom 5 are out. So that's all we need to know right now. St Kilda v Richmond, this is going to be quite an interesting game. These games tend to be quite close on the Saturday afternoon or whenever it is between these 2 sides of the MCG. But I'm still backing in the Saints in a close one. I'm going to back them in by 15. Oh, no, not 15 points. That's too big. I'm going to say them by 8 points over the Tigers on the Saturday. We continue the Saturday afternoon, 3:15 p.m. at Marvel Stadium, is the Kangas taking on Geelong. Now, Geelong, they're coming off a win, I believe. I don't know. I don't remember who they're beating. Who did they beat? Oh, yeah, that's right. Essendon, obviously. That was an easy win. 67-point percentage booster for the Cats. 61-point win and percentage booster for the Cats over the Bombers. And obviously North Melbourne, they came off an impressive win to the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium under the roof as well. So, this is going to be quite an interesting game. We've seen this game be 100-plus points before, but that's because North Melbourne weren't having the best season last year and also prior. They've bounced back this season. They've got the best, one of the best young midfields in the comp. Obviously, Essendon are on the other end of the spectrum, but North Melbourne, they've been an impressive team to compete against this year. Obviously, they've had 4 of the last 5 games being losses, unfortunately, but their win last week gave them a bit of a confidence booster going into this week against Geelong. However, the Cats, they should still be too good in this one. I'm going to back them in by 27 points. Should be a convincing win at Marvel for the Cats. They're not as a convincing team always at Marvel because they're not that good compared to Brisbane, but Geelong, I reckon I can see them putting on some numbers against North Melbourne, and their talented old midfield can run all over their midfield battle, their young midfield battle with Sheasel and McKercher in that. So I'm going to back in the Cats by 27 points over North to continue the Saturday afternoon. And the final game of the Saturday afternoon, 3:45 p.m. It's kind of like a twilight game. It is the Q Clash, Brisbane taking on Gold Coast. Gold Coast, what an impressive win you guys pulled off against the Giants. Impressive 2-point victory against the Giants at Manuka, and that decreases their chances of making finals. Well done, Gold Coast. You've made an improvement of trying to get a team out of finals. Since your team is already out of finals, you may as well knock other teams out, which is a good idea. Great win for the Suns over GWS, and then Brisbane, what a massive game. A booster of confidence in that game against Hawthorn. They steamrolled all over them. They are now only a draw behind Hawthorn on the ladder, and if they win this week with Hawthorn losing against Collingwood, boy oh wowee, things can change quickly. But this is going to be a pretty nail-biting of a game. Obviously, the Lions and the Suns, it tends to be one way most of the time, but I reckon this time it's going to be a bit of a closer game. I'm backing the Lions still because it's at the Gabba. Cameron will kick a few goals and get Country Road singing along at the Gabba in front of the whole packed out stadium in Brisbane. But yeah, I think the Lions should still win this game. Not convincingly though. I'm going to say them by 15 points. It should be more, but I think because of Gold Coast last week, they pulled off an impressive win. They deserve to get some positive feedback going into the next game. Despite them still losing my predictions and probably still losing the actual game, Gold Coast should get some positive feedback after last week. So, big win for the Lions. It will be a big win if they can jump up to 3rd from this position. But obviously, a win to Gold Coast shouldn't be that hard. And we move to the Saturday night, 7:10 p.m. at the MCG. We've got the Hawks taking on the Pies. What a game this is going to be. The Jack Ginnivan legacy game, of course. We've seen these two battle it out before when Jack Ginnivan traded from Collingwood to Hawthorn. Obviously once in Gallagher in 2024. Or 2023, whenever it was. I think it was at the Pies in 2023, so I think it was 2024 when they played each other in Gallagher, or it was last year, one of the two. I'll put the result on screen to make sure what year it was. But yeah, Collingwood v Hawthorn, this is always a good game. I think Collingwood are going to cause an upset here. They're going to jump into the, well, not the top 4, but definitely the top 6. Sorry, not the top 6. They'll jump up to 7th if the Cats do not win. Because even if they do win, they probably won't go anywhere because Geelong are probably going to tower over North Melbourne in the game against the game between those two sides. But still, Collingwood, if they win this game, that'll give them some confidence going into the final round of the season against Brisbane the week after. So this will be a big game to win. Obviously, Hawthorn really want to win it. Otherwise, Brisbane could take their spot, or even Adelaide, or even Melbourne. There's 3 teams that could take Hawthorn's spot if Hawthorn do lose this weekend. I'm gonna back the Pies in to try and get the Hawks to go down on the ladder, and Brisbane can go up. And if Adelaide win, so be it. Adelaide go up. If Melbourne win, Melbourne go up. So be it. Hawthorn go down all the way to 6th. They could go all the way down to 6th if all the other 3 teams with 56 points, Brisbane, Adelaide and Melbourne, if they all go up and Hawthorn loses, boy oh wow, it wouldn't be a good look for Hawthorn because they will go all the way down to 6th and potentially be below Geelong at some point in this season. So, especially in the final round, depending on who they have. But I'm going to back in the Pies in this game, a bit of an upset. I'm going to back them in by 7 points over the Hawks at the MCG. I am so crazy if I said that was the final game on the Saturday. I am so crazy. The actual final game on the Saturday, if I did say that, is at 7:40 p.m. It's Port Adelaide taking on the Melbourne Demons at Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide, jeez. Season's over. It's been over since the start. Since Connor Rosie and Zach Butters got injured, you were absolutely toast. You were done. You were gone. See you later. Call it quits. Just go get your your early draft picks in the 2026 AFL draft. But you may as well do that now. You may as well select who you're going to select from the teenage years, obviously under 18s or whatnot. But anyway, Melbourne, wow, what an impressive win you guys did against Fremantle, the top side of the league. And Harrison Petty with the little rub on the head. I love that. I love that reaction. That reaction was so funny. But that celebration, should I say, was so funny. But anyway, Melbourne v Port. This is going to be such a boring game, I reckon, in my opinion. This could go down to the wire. This is one of the games that could go down to the wire, and it probably should go down to the wire despite these two teams being on the opposite side of each other. However, Melbourne, I don't know if they'll win, but I'm still going to back them in. They lost to Adelaide last time they played at the Adelaide Oval, and then the week prior to that, they played Essendon and still lost. So that means... Not the week prior, the last time before the Adelaide game, they obviously lost to Essendon in the other round. So, geez, their record at Adelaide over this season hasn't been great. But let's see if they can turn that around against Port Adelaide this weekend. I'm going to back them in by, I'll say 16 points. Won't be a convincing win, but I'm going to say them by a decent margin over Port Adelaide to finalise the Saturday night. We begin the Sunday out in the Greater Western Sydney. The Greater Western Sydney Giants host the West Coast Eagles at NG Stadium live in the Sydney Showgrounds. What a game this is going to be between these two sides. GWS, this game could go either way. West Coast, obviously, they got not steamrolled, but they actually came close against the Pies, but still lost by 19 points. It was just Nick Dacos' fault because Nick Dacos is such a good player. You can't make a doubt that Nick Dacos is such a good player in the league, and obviously he's one of the best in the league, and you just cannot beat him in the midfield. So poor West Coast, yes, they go home crying with a 19-point loss. However, they can potentially win this game. Yes, they've lost the last 5 games, and GWS have won 2 of the last 5. However, if they lose this game, the Giants, they are for sure gone. If they win this game, they might still be in the hunt, which that's the reason why I'm backing them in, because it's West Coast. Who knows what's going to happen with West Coast? They could smash them, or they could make it a close game somehow. I'm going to say the Giants in a 15-point win. It should be more than that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to make that 31 points. because West Coast, who knows? It could go either way with this game because the Giants, they're not the best team this season. They just lost to Gold Coast. Yes, they lost to Gold Coast, and they could lose to an even worse team at West Coast this week. They even lost to Essendon, so who knows? They could lose to West Coast this week. I'm going to back in the Giants still, but boy, the Giants are a risky team to tip this year because obviously the Suns beat them and the Bombers beat them. I don't think the Tigers or Port Adelaide did, but at least the Bombers and the Suns did, and they're both below the Giants themselves. So that just goes to show how bad the Giants are this season. I'm still backing them in, but it is a very risky tip. I'm going to back them in by 31 points over West Coast. To be fair, it is West Coast, but who knows, it could go either way. Boy, oh wow, what a matchup we have here. The 2:45 p.m. game at Marvel Stadium. It is the Dogs hosting the Blues under the roof. The Dogs, jeez. Their game against North last week was not that great, but at least they get a longer break than usual, because normally they would get a 5 to 6 day break, or not even 5, probably, yeah, 5, 6 or 7 game day break, or even 8 potentially. Obviously those are the only options, 5, 6, 7 or 8, but they get an 8 day break this weekend. No, hang on, let me do the maths right. 7, 8, 9. Do they get a 10 game break? Far out. No, 10 day break, sorry, not 10 game break. 10 day break from the last Thursday to this Sunday. What a break they get. Training and whatnot. They're still obviously training as hard as they can, but obviously it's going to be hard to face the Blues after their win against St Kilda. What a game that was at Marvel Stadium to end off round 22. That was basically an elimination final on the cards, and obviously St Kilda, they're on the chopping block now. Who knows? The Giants are too, same with North, because they're on the same amount of points, but they are well and truly still alive if they can win their last 2 games, all those teams. Very unlikely, especially when North Melbourne have to play Geelong this week, and also St Kilda when they have to face the Tigers, even though they should win. But who knows what's going to happen. Anyway, this game, Carlton v the Bulldogs, what a game this is going to be. 9th v 10th. Winner of this could go above, well, definitely will go above the other. If the Dogs win, they will hold on to 9th spot and even take over the Pies on the ladder, so they could go into 8th if the Pies do lose to Hawthorn. And if Carlton win and the Pies win or lose, it wouldn't matter for the Pies because they'll still stay where they are or go up. The Dogs will go down to 10th and the Blues will go up to 9th. So that'll be scary for Carlton. That'll confirm them in finals if they do win this game. And I'm going to back them in this one. I'm going to back in the Blues to win this game and confirm their final spot to eliminate St Kilda and the rest of the competition that's from 11th downwards to 18th. And that'll confirm Carlton in finals. I'm going to back them in to win this game by 11 points in a thriller to confirm them in finals. The Baggers are making it all the way through to the 2026 AFL Final Series. And the final game of the round, very boring, but you know what, I have to mention it anyway. Essendon taking on Sydney at Marvel. Sorry, the Dogs game was at Marvel. The MCG, my bad. Essendon v Sydney, we know which way this is going to go. Sydney, yes. Essendon, yes, they have won a couple of games. They've been lucky with those games against Melbourne and GWS. However, that GWS game was even more impressive. Last week, though, yeah, a 67-point loss to Geelong. Sounds like them. And the week prior to Adelaide, 72 points. Sounds reasonable. Whereas this week, it should be around the same. If they lose to Adelaide by that much and even lose to the Cats by that much, then it's fair enough. They should lose to Sydney, who are even better in second. And they're only 8 points behind Fremantle, despite them still probably finishing second of all spots. And no higher, no lower. They're still going to smash them in this game. A percentage booster for Sydney. This should be an easy win for them. Essendon, you may as well just go to Bali and enjoy your trip up there, because you know from the get-go you were a really bad team. Yes, they're still young, and I shouldn't be saying things like that to them. But to be fair, they may as well just get their draft picks from the first, obviously they'll get the first draft pick of the season because obviously they will finish 18th this season. But Sydney, if they win this game, which they will stay in second but have 68 points on the board, so they will probably confirm their top 2 spot which will be good for Sydney because then they'll get a home qualifying final after the wildcard finals obviously been played. But anyway, Sydney, to win this game for the final game of the round, they'll win by 75 points over the Bombers in a big percentage booster and get their points up to 68, and their percentage probably around the same as Fremantle. Alrighty guys, that'll do it for this video. We are back with the footy tipping content for the final 2 rounds of the home and away season, plus the finals. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm so sorry for not uploading any tipping videos in the past. I've just been focusing on Year 12. Year 12 is a very stressful time, of course, as a Year 12, almost 18-year-old student at my school, of course. But anyway guys, that'll be it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. And we'll see you guys in my next bit of content I post here on the channel. We'll see you guys soon. Peace!